Hello, everybody. My name is Carolina, and my discourse community is Dia de los Muertos. I am specifically focusing on the one in Mexico, the way they do the culture over there and everything. So, let's begin with some background history. The origin of Dia de los Muertos is from an Aztec and Nahui people that lived in what now is central Mexico. These people saw death as a fundamental way of life. When a person passed away, they had to travel to Chihuahuatlán, land of the dead. They would have to pass 9 levels on a journey for their souls to be at peace. This was the Aztec culture. The Nahui rituals were a little different when the people passed away. They would honor them by providing food, water, and tools to help their dead with the journey to peace. Some more background history is also in ancient Europe, they would do huge celebrations in the fall in honor of their dead, such as bonfires, feasting, and dancing. As well as in Spain, they brought wine and pan de animas, which is bread of the dead, flowers, candles to their beloved ones' graves. As you can see, many of these cultures have influenced what is now Dia de los Muertos. Nowadays, Dia de los Muertos is celebrated on the 31st of October through the 2nd of November. So the first person I interviewed was my mom, which is Elba. And I asked her, what kind of activities do you do for Dia de los Muertos? And she replied, an activity I do for Dia de los Muertos is decorate my altar with fruits, cook the deceased favorite food, make a path of flowers to guide the deceased to the altar and to their favorite foods. I also asked her, what is an altar in your opinion? She responded, an altar is a table where you decorate it with such things as putting candy, pictures, arches of flowers, bowls of food, liquids, and hanging more flowers around the altar. The third question I asked her was, why is this tradition/community that you participate in? And why? I do this tradition to honor my deceased relatives because they get to come once a year to an opening to come visit the living and enjoy what they used to love, which has everything on the altar. Watch the movie Coco, you will understand better. The second person I interviewed was my boyfriend, and his name is Leonardo. And he gave me his responses in Spanish because I asked him in Spanish because he's more dominant in Spanish. So I will say his response in Spanish and then I will translate what he said in English. So the first question I asked him was, what do you put on your altar for Dia de los Muertos? He responded, lo que yo pongo en mi altar para Día de los Muertos es calabazas, pan, calacas, calaveras, fotos, velas, cocas y lo que le haya gustado al muertito, cerveza, cigarro, flores rojas y tela blanca. So he responded saying that what he puts on his altar for Día de los Muertos are squash, bread, skulls, skeletons, photos, candles, cokes, or anything that the deceased liked, such as beer, cigarettes, red flowers, and white cloth. The second question I asked him is, why do you believe that Dia de los Muertos gets confused with being the same thing as Halloween? He responded, son muy diferentes estas dos celebraciones. El Día de los Muertos es para honrar a los seres queridos y Halloween es un día de disfraces y pedir dulces. Son completamente diferentes. Los confunden por los días, pero ni son de la misma fecha, son de dos diferentes días. So he said that these two things are very different. These celebrations have nothing to do with each other, such as Dia de los Muertos is to honor your loved ones, and Halloween is to dress up and go ask for candy and scare people. Some may confuse it, he said, because of this, they're around the same days, like the same day, but actually they're two separate days. And that's why he said that they may confuse them. So the third question I asked him was, when do you start your altar? And he responded, yo empiezo mi altar antes del día 2 de noviembre, que es el día oficial de los días de los muertos. Yo la mayoría del tiempo lo pongo alrededor del 22 de octubre. And he responded, I prepare my altar around the 22nd of October, he says, before the 2nd of November, which is the official day of Dia de los Muertos. So the last question I asked him was, how can you join or be part of this discourse community? And he responded, Todos pueden ingresar a esta tradición porque es para compartir con todos y poder enseñarles nuevas tradiciones para el futuro de sus familias y poder honrar tus seres queridos. Todos son bienvenidos. Nos podemos enseñarles correctamente las tradiciones que se hacen. So he said that everyone is welcome to this tradition or this community, and it would be a good way to show them new traditions for their future families and to be able to honor their loved ones who passed away. Everyone is welcome, he said, and he would like for them to be in contact with someone who can teach them the right way for the traditions and how to do it. So next is how you or others may misinterpret el Día de los Muertos. There are many ways that people can misinterpret Día de los Muertos, such as that Halloween is the same thing as Día de los Muertos, like I mentioned, that you are worshiping the devil, worshiping the dead, and that you are doing witchcraft. These are some, but there are many more ways of misinterpreting Día de los Muertos, but these are most of the common ones that I wrote down. And lastly, but not least, I recommend that if you really have an interest in Día de los Muertos, that you go to the city of Oaxaca on the days of October 31st through November 1st. I personally have been there because my dad is from Oaxaca, and it's a beautiful state. It's very green, and during Día de los Muertos, it's super colorful with amazing fiestas and decorations everywhere. You will get to see how these people decorate all the cemeteries and the food they enjoy making for their dead ones to be able to come back and receive them. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation. These are my resources, and thank you for listening.